The stability of modern cruising cats and their potential for good performance downwind is part of their big appeal. But there are tips and tricks for getting the best out of a cat downwind and also avoiding getting too overpressed. What kind of angles should we be looking at, Nigel, for downwind sailing?
We should go deep, but we should still not sail dead downwind. It's not like racing boats where the speed is so great that you can haul your wind and sail quite aggressive angles and still make best speed downwind. But with this kind of cruising boat, I'd say you just want to come comfortably off the downwind line so that you're not close to a jibe and so on. But I think because of that, you'll probably need, if you're doing any sort of serious sailing, you should have a downwind sail. And it might even be an ordinary traditional striped spinnaker. Probably better to be an asymmetric one, which can be tacked on the windward bow. One sort of step up from the real base boat is to have a little bit of a bowsprit, which allows you to carry that a little closer to the wind, like maybe up to a beam reach, let's say. But by and large, there's no point in thinking you're going to go really fast and sail aggressive angles, so keep going downwind, but avoid the downwind line. You know.
And as far as comfort is concerned, is it true to say that on a cruising cat you can sail much deeper and avoid the rolling that you might get on the monohull?
That's right. I think most monohull sailors sailing in, say, tradewind conditions are actually coming up enough so that they try to avoid that rolling, and it isn't a problem in the catamaran for sure. So it isn't a constraint.
And what about quartering seas? Is that an issue with cats?
No, they should be able to deal with that even under autopilot. No particular problem. This is quite a traditional main sheet system which they've chosen to put on this boat. Instead of having a track along the deck, the position of the boom is determined by these pair of tackles which are both controlled from the cockpit. It's quite a good idea, less complicated, less to go wrong. And obviously, if you started letting the boom out further now, this one would eventually become redundant. This would swing over the other way and give you a reasonable amount of banging downwards when you're slightly off the wind. When you really go off the wind, you have to put a tackle down to the rail and haul it from there, because you need sometimes to go out quite a lot further than that. And that's the way you still keep the mainsail from twisting too much.
One of the big risks, I guess, with any boat, but particularly multi-hulls, is when the breeze comes up and you're going downwind.
I do think that is it's a really important point, actually. The problem is that you can't reef going downwind, obviously, because the sail is against the shrouds. And it is probably the area that is potentially the most dangerous if you have the kind of conditions where a squall might come out of nowhere, maybe in the middle of the night, and catch you out, and you haven't got the crew to react quickly enough. If that's the situation, and you're on a long passage and you're just family or friends on board, the safe thing to do is to sail downwind with quite a heavily reefed main right from the start. And that means that you can put all you like in the fore triangle or other downwind sails and not worry about it, because we all know that if you get a heavy squall come through, you can ease sheets very easily and you can get out of trouble. The problem is, of course, that to reef you've got to turn around and come back upwind, and you don't want to do that if there's all that wind. And there's a kind of nasty feeling as you go around the corner that the apparent wind's going to increase quickly and you could be in trouble. So I'd say that is one of the most important, in terms of safety, as one of the most important points about sailing a boat, is never get caught out downwind with an inadequate crew and too much mainsail.
What about jibing, Nigel?
Well, in a race boat, fast boat, it's really easy, because as you go down through the downwind line, the boat's going fast enough that the apparent wind has almost dropped completely, so it's very easy. On a boat like this, cruising boat, it's kind of similar to a monohull. The only thing is, you're not so conscious that you're sailing by the lee. You don't get a sort of feeling of that awkward feeling of heeling to windward, so you don't get the warning signs. That's quite important, and you have to think about it carefully anyway, because you don't want to be caught out with a crashed jibe.
And I guess the load's pretty high as well on a cat.
They would be high because of the big roach mainsail and so on. Yeah, sure.
This bridle arrangement we have on the main sheet on this boat will actually help us in the jibe, because as long as the leeward side one on the old jibe is reasonably near vertical, which it is already actually, is I can more or less leave that, jibe onto it and then ease it out, and then when we're good and ready we can take up the slack on the new leeward one, on the what is the lazy one at the moment. So we might as well go ahead and do that, I think.
Ready for me to come down?
Yep.
Okay, coming down.
I'll just take a little more slack as it comes over. There we are. Now I can just pay it out, take a turn off the winch to make it easier. Pay it out this side. Now the boom will be riding up in the air now, but that doesn't really matter. When I've finished with this one, I'll lock that off and then take up the slack on the new leeward side sheet. Now I can put a little bit of heft into that, and then finally let go the one on the old windward side. There we are. And that's it, more or less.